A Plague Tale: Innocence is an action-adventure survival horror stealth game. The player assumes control of Amicia the Rune from a third-person perspective. For the majority of the game, players need to utilize stealth to avoid hostile encounters, as enemies will kill Amicia instantly if they catch her. Amicia is equipped with a sling that can throw rocks to break chains, create distractions, or stun guards long enough for the rats to ambush them. She can kill them with a headshot. Her sling also has the ability to throw many other things, some of which can start fires, put out fires, and attract rats to a certain location. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is a dark fantasy action-adventure game developed and published by the British video game development studio Ninja Theory. Inspired by Norse mythology and Celtic culture, the game follows Senua, a picked warrior who must make her way to Helheim by defeating otherworldly entities and facing their challenges, in order to rescue the soul of her dead lover from the goddess Hela. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is divided in two types of gameplay. The first allows Senua to walk freely and interact with her surroundings. Those parts focus on either story via voiceover, as Senua travels from one location to another, or the resolution of a puzzle or challenge of some kind to progress further. A Way Out is an action-adventure game played from a third-person perspective. It is specifically designed for split-screen cooperative multiplayer, which means that it must be played with another player through either local or online play. In the game, players control Leo and Vincent, two convicted prisoners who must break out of prison and stay on the run from authorities. As the story of both protagonists is told simultaneously, their progress may not be synchronized, which may result in one player being able to control their character, while another is watching a cutscene. Players need to cooperate with each other in order to progress, and each situation can be approached differently, with both characters taking different roles. Resident Evil 2 is a remake of the 1998 game of the same name. Unlike the original, which uses tank controls and fixed camera angles, the remake features over-the-shoulder third-person shooter gameplay similar to Resident Evil 4 and more recent games in the series that allows players the option to move while using their weapons similar to Resident Evil 6. The assisted and standard difficulty modes deviate from the original by featuring autosaves and allowing players to save as often as they would like inside safe rooms. If the player chooses to play on hardcore difficulty, players will be required to collect and use a finite number of ink ribbons to save the game's progress, much like in the original game. Mafia 3 is an action-adventure game set in an open-world environment and played from a third-person perspective, in which the player assumed control of Lincoln Clay, a Vietnam War veteran on a quest to seek revenge for his adopted family, who are murdered by local mobs. The game is set in 1968 New Bordeaux, a reimagined version of New Orleans, with the game world being larger than the Mafia and Mafia 2 maps combined. Mafia 3's map is made up of 10 districts: Bayou Phantom, Delray Hollow, Barclay Mills, Frisco Fields, Point Verdun, Tickfaw Harbor, South Downs, River Row, Downtown, and the French Ward. Players can complete objectives using a variety of approaches. For example, players can use the weapons provided in the game, like shotguns and revolvers, to eliminate enemies. Grand Theft Auto 5 is an action-adventure game played from either a third-person or first-person perspective. Players complete missions, linear scenarios with set objectives, to progress through the story. Outside of the missions, players may freely roam the open world. Composed of the San Andreas open countryside area, including the fictional Blaine County, and the fictional city of Los Santos, the world is much larger in area than earlier entries in the series. It may be fully explored after the game's beginning without restriction, although story progress unlocks more gameplay content. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is an action-adventure game played from a third-person perspective. Players take on the role of Lara Croft as she explores environments across the continents of Central and South America. In addition to standalone areas, the game has a large hub in the hidden city of Paititi. A new barter system allows players to trade and sell various resources gathered from the areas surrounding Paititi. There are numerous adjustments made to gameplay, which is otherwise identical to Rise of the Tomb Raider. The controls for swimming have been revised, as Lara is able to hold her breath underwater for a longer period of time due to the introduction of air pockets. She has the ability to rappel down a cliff using her climbing axe and rope. Devil May Cry 5 is a 2019 action-adventure game developed and published by Capcom. It is the sixth installment in the franchise, not counting mobile games, and the fifth installment of the mainline Devil May Cry series. The gameplay features the return of Dante and Nero as playable characters, along with a new character, named V. The gameplay is similar to that of the other titles in the Devil May Cry series, focusing on fast-paced stylish action. The player fights off hordes of demons with a variety of attacks and weapons. They receive a style rating for combat based on a number of factors, such as move variety, the length of a combo and dodging attacks. The game's music changes based on the player's performance in combat. Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice is an action-adventure game played from a third-person view. Compared to From Software's own Souls series, the game features fewer role-playing elements, lacking character creation and the ability to level up a variety of stats, as well as having no multiplayer elements. It does, however, include gear upgrading, a skill tree, and limited ability customization. Rather than attacking to whittle an enemy's health points, combat in Sekiro revolves around using a katana to attack their posture and balance instead, which eventually leads to an opening that allows for a single killing blow. The game also features stealth elements, allowing players to immediately eliminate some enemies if they can get in range undetected. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a Western-themed action-adventure game. Played from a first- or third-person perspective, the game is set in an open-world environment featuring a fictionalized version of the Western, Midwestern, and Southern United States in 1899, during the latter half of the Wild West era and the turn of the 20th century. The game features both single-player and online multiplayer. The player controls outlaw Arthur Morgan, a member of the Vanderlinde gang, as he completes numerous missions, linear scenarios with set objectives, to progress through the story. From the game's epilogue, the player controls John Marston, the playable protagonist of the game's predecessor, Red Dead Redemption. Outside of missions, the player may freely roam the game's interactive world.